Okay, let's get right into it. It's probably the biggest question in fitness right now. Can you really swap out your weightlifting sessions for a quick, intense HIIT workout? Today, we're going to cut through all the noise and look at what the actual science says. Is HIIT truly the all-in-one solution we're all hoping for?
I mean, let's be real for a second. Who actually feels like they have enough time? We're all juggling a million things. So the idea, the dream, really, of one single workout that could cover all the bases, that is incredibly appealing.
And this is exactly where high-intensity interval training, HIIT, comes into the picture. It's been hyped up as the ultimate fitness shortcut, but does that promise really hold up when you look at both heart health and building strength?
So what is high IIT, really? Well, at its core, it's just short, all-out, super intense bursts of exercise, followed by little periods of rest or maybe some easy movement. And it's famous for being just unbelievably time efficient, especially when it comes to boosting your cardiovascular fitness.
And this is what we're really digging into today. We already know HIIT is fantastic for your heart and lungs. That's a given. But can it also build muscle? Can it actually make you stronger? Basically, can you finally ditch the dumbbell rack and just stick to the spin bike? Let's find out.
All right, let's dive into the evidence. To get a real answer here, we're not just looking at one little study. Oh no, we're going deep into a massive scientific review that gathered up all the data from dozens of different studies on this exact topic.
And the way they do this is with something called a meta-analysis. Now, think of it like this. Instead of just asking one scientist what they think, you're basically polling hundreds of them at the same time by combining all of their results. It gives us a way stronger and more reliable conclusion.
And the scale here is just wow. This single review pulled together data from 54 separate studies. We're talking about results from over 1,000 different people. So yeah, that is a huge pool of evidence we're about to jump into.
Okay, time for our first big clue in this investigation. Does HIIT actually build muscle, what scientists call hypertrophy? Well, the answer, as it turns out, is it's a little complicated.
So at first glance, the evidence seems, pretty disappointing, honestly. When scientists looked at whole-body scans of people doing high IIT, they found a really tiny effect, an average gain of just 1.17% in fat-free mass. If you're trying to get bigger and stronger, that doesn't sound great.
But wait, here's where our investigation takes a really interesting twist. What if that first clue was a bit misleading? Because it turns out that how you measure muscle growth, well, it changes absolutely everything. You see, not all scans are created equal. These whole-body scans, they're good for getting the big picture, but they aren't super sensitive. They can miss small, specific changes in one muscle group. The gold standard for measuring a single muscle is an MRI. It's like using a high-powered microscope instead of just a magnifying glass.
And boom, this table shows you exactly what I'm talking about. Look at that. The whole body mass is up just over 1%. But when they used an MRI to zoom in specifically on the quadriceps, the main muscle you're hammering and cycling HIIT, they saw an average increase of almost 5%. Now that is a much more impressive result.
Okay, so we've established that HIIT can build some muscle, especially in the specific muscles you're really working. But that's only half the puzzle, right? What about pure, raw strength? How does it stack up when you put it head-to-head with good old-fashioned weightlifting?
Well, the evidence here is pretty darn clear. When you look at the studies that directly compared HIIT to resistance training for building leg press strength, it's not even a contest. Traditional weightlifting is just dramatically better.
So the big question is, why? And it all comes down to a fundamental rule in exercise science called the principle of specificity. It sounds complicated, but it's super simple. Your body gets good at exactly what you train it to do. If you want to get stronger at lifting heavy things, you got to practice lifting heavy things.
And this right here is the reason. Think about it. Even when you're sprinting as hard as you possibly can on a bike, the actual force your muscles are creating is just a tiny fraction of what you'd lift in a heavy squat or leg press. That much lighter load just isn't enough to trigger those big strength adaptations you get from resistance training.
Okay, so we've looked at the clue about muscle growth. We've looked at the clue about strength. Let's pull this all together. What is the final verdict? What does this actually mean for you and your workout routine?
So here's the bottom line. When it comes to building pure strength, resistance training is, without a doubt, the undisputed king. HIIT can build some muscle, but
but it's really targeted to the specific areas you're working, so you probably shouldn't expect huge all-over muscle gains from HIIT alone. And it's also worth pointing out that scientists still call this evidence low certainty, which just means more research is needed to really lock this down.
So no, HIIT is not the magic bullet workout that completely replaces weightlifting. But hey, that is not bad news. It's an amazing, incredibly time-efficient tool for your heart health that can also give you a nice little muscle-building bonus. So the real question isn't about replacement, it's about strategy. Now that you know this, how are you going to strategically combine the raw strength-building power of weights with the incredible efficiency of HIIT to build the workout that's perfect for you?